There are a lot of problems with the way we've organized our occupation of the landscape, and some of them are logistical, social, even spiritual problems, and some of them are ecological and economic problems. The living arrangement that Americans think of as normal, which is the suburbs and all of the things that make it go, is a living arrangement with no future. You know, it has very poor prospects for running 5 or 10 or 20 years from now, and largely because of the energy issues. Now it happens that we have invested immense amounts of our late 20th century and early 21st century wealth in this living arrangement, in the infrastructure of it, in the furnishings and accessories of it. You know, the strip malls, the big box pods, the housing subdivisions, the immense network of highways and superhighways, the parking lots, all of the stuff that we associate with this living arrangement. So we've invested all of our social wealth, all of our capital in this way of life, and it has no future. And so you can then define this behavior as a tremendous misallocation of resources. You know, perhaps the greatest misallocation of resources in the history of the world, just in sheer volume of wealth and sheer volume of stuff that has been constructed that is not going to have a future. So having done that, we are now faced with an additional problem, which is the problem that can be stated as sunk costs, or the psychology of previous investment. And the psychology of previous investment is a fancy way of saying that you've put so much of your wealth and your spirit into something that you can't imagine reforming it or changing it or letting go of it. And that's sort of the predicament that we're in. And that's, now the trouble is, if we don't want to negotiate it, we're going to find that we have a new negotiating partner. Reality. Reality will negotiate it for us. In fact, it won't, it will be arbitrated rather than mediated. Events and circumstances will compel us to change what we're doing, whether we like it or not, or whether it's our idea or not. So just saying that it's non-negotiable is really just bluster, because we're going to have to get in there and make some changes whether we like it or not. Well, let's put it this way. There are many other shortcomings and liabilities of the suburban way of life, the drive-in utopia, as I sometimes refer to it. And many of them are civic shortcomings. Part of the whole project of suburbia has been an effort to privatize things in our everyday world that were previously shared or public. In other words, we have the most luxurious private living spaces in the world, and the most square feet per inhabitant than any other culture, and more bathrooms per resident of any other culture. And so we've made the private realm very luxurious, but we've impoverished the public realm. In America, most of the public space comes in the form of the street. It's only the sense that it's really necessary to be rewarded by your surroundings, and on a fairly regular basis. It can't just be the one time a month that you go into a particular building and it's the one nice building in your town, or the one day a year that you make a car trip to some theme park where there's a place that you're not tyrannized by the automobile. And this is one of the things that anybody who goes to Europe quickly discovers, is that you're in these environments which are deeply and richly rewarding all the time, and you discover how important that is to your spirit. And what we get in America generally is nothing from our surroundings. We're just being assaulted by stuff, whether it's noise or the squalor of the signage or the squalor of the street itself and the automobile infrastructure, or just the speed that you have to move through it in, because you're not moving through space at a human speed. These places we've created are going to become greater liabilities, are going to have less usefulness, and really probably are going to be either the ruins of tomorrow or the slums of tomorrow, or both. So the trouble is that 3 generations have been living that way now. And what we're probably going to be faced with is the need to downscale virtually everything we do. All the major systems that we depend on are going to become unstable and are going to wobble and have trouble as we enter this period of energy scarcity and a global contest over the remaining energy, specifically oil and gas. And by gas, I mean methane, natural gas, not gasoline. Gasoline is part of the oil equation. In any case, so we're going to have to downscale and rescale and resize and right-size and reorganize all of these systems, the way we do agriculture, the way we occupy the terrain in terms of the types of habitats. Yeah, so let's talk about what the systems are. So, agriculture. We're going to have to find a way to value the rural hinterlands differently. We're going to have to reach a new understanding that if you want to live in the rural landscape, you're going to have to follow a rural lifeway or a rural vocation. Because one of the big selling points of the suburban experience for the last 60 years has been you can lead an urban life in the rural setting. And the car enables that to happen. That's going to be over with. There are going to be far fewer opportunities for people to really practice that. So, so that distinction between town and country is going to be reestablished. We're almost certainly going to have to rescale, reestablish, reorganize our networks of commerce and retail trade. We have essentially surrendered to national chain retail in North America. And by that I mean Walmart and the things like it. Gigantic chain stores moving immense amounts of merchandise, which, by the way, are coming in through a 12,000-mile long pipeline from the manufacturers in Asia. That's not going to survive the energy problems, global energy problems that we face. So that whole system is going to wobble, and we're going to have to rebuild, reconstruct local, complex, fine-grained networks of economic interdependency, the very things that we systematically allowed to be destroyed by the big box stores because we wanted to save $9 on a hairdryer, and that's why that happened. Of course, we saved $9 on a hairdryer and we threw $1 million worth of civic embodiment out the window. And all of these social roles that accompany the economic roles that people embodied on the local scale. So we're going to have to rebuild that.